In a callback to last week's episode, I saved the broth and fat from the carnitas and with it am determined to make a twist on fried rice. While last week was all about trades and trade deadlines, today I want to look at another type of mid-season way teams change over the season. The buyout players. To start, separate the fat and the gelatinous broth. Add about 1 cup broth to a pot with about a quarter cup rinsed and prepped brown rice and bring to a boil. Reduce that to a simmer after the boil and cook until toothsome, about 35 minutes. While the rice is typically cooked in water with broth as flavorful and potent as this, push all that flavor in. In 2008, the Boston Celtics were a new super team. Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen joined Paul Pierce in Beantown. They were an extremely talented team who played for each other, and yet, even with the Celtics holding the best record in the East, they looked to add more. After the trade deadline, there were few moves left for the Celtics to make. To add both shooting and rebounding around their strong core, they signed PJ Brown on February 27th and Sam Cassell on March 4th. Suddenly, a strong team had the kind of depth needed to make a finals run. And run they did. The Celtics held on to the number 1 seed in the East, survived 7-game series against the Hawks and Cavs, a 6-game series against the Pistons to force a long-awaited rematch between the two most storied franchises of all time, the Celtics and the Lakers. With Brown and Cassell, along with the rest of the Celtics bench, they consistently outscored the Lakers and brought the Celtics their 17th championship, their first in over 20 years. While the rice is cooking, chop up some veggies to round out this dish. Think big, bright, and colorful. A mirepoix and then some, including any color pepper you've got lying around, and plenty of garlic. A rough chop is okay, the goal is color and some extra crunch. In a stainless steel pan with about a tablespoon of rendered fat from the carnitas, sauté up the veggies for 3 to 4 minutes and remove from the pan. In July 2012, in a salary tax-saving move, the Denver Nuggets waived longtime team stalwart, the colorful center, Chris "Birdman" Anderson. 5 months later, the reigning NBA champion Miami Heat came calling in need of a big body willing to hustle on defense and grab rebounds that LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and company could turn into points. They signed the Birdman. Whether it was Anderson's contributions or a players-only meeting after a bad loss led by Shane Battier, the Heat rattled off a 27-game win streak and looked ready to defend their title. They cruised through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs where they eventually ran into the size and defense of the Indiana Pacers. Birdman's rebounding and near-perfect shooting helped the Heat's bench weather the Pacers in a 7-game series to push the Heat to the finals again. Another historic 7-game series with some of the most heroic shots in NBA history, and the Heat were champions again. When the rice has absorbed all of the broth, add 2 tablespoons of fat to the same pan at medium heat. Add the rice and stir for about 1 minute. Add back the veggies and some of the leftover carnitas or some andouille sausage if you have it. Add about a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning and continue to cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. Kill the heat and plate up. Garnish with cilantro. In 2012, the Charlotte Bobcats waived forward Boris Diaw. Shortly later, he signed with the San Antonio Spurs to finish out the season. Diaw was a perfect Spur. His size and passing acumen fit directly into Coach Popovich's unselfish system. Supporting Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Kawhi Leonard, and alongside Manu Ginobili, the Spurs mixed up each of their opponents with quick passing. They made it to back-to-back finals in 2013 and 2014, each time playing the Heat. While they lost a close series in 2013, as aforementioned, in 2014 the Spurs were fully realized and cruised past Miami in 5 games. Rarely do buyout players contribute so meaningfully to winning in the playoffs. Oftentimes they might help win a regular season game or 2 at best. For certain teams, though, with championship-level cores, some discarded extra is enough to make the difference. Tastes pretty good.